Well, hello there guys. Welcome to another video. I'm going to show you the process of creating a Draw This in Your Style piece with 3 characters. And I'll be using the iPad. Actually, my little tiny iPad mini. There are so many Draw This in Your Style challenges out there, and I have a tendency to save like this giant list of challenges I want to participate in, but it is really hard to participate in all of them because there's only so much time in a day, right? Like, I don't have time to sit and draw every single challenge that I want to draw. So for this piece, I decided to combine 3 Draw This in Your Style challenges into one piece, and it was an interesting challenge to make the 3 different characters look like they could be friends and that they would be all the same style and make it look like they live in the same world together. I actually did a lot of this piece over a live stream on Twitch. If you want to catch me live over there, I answer questions, chat with viewers, and work on art. It's a real lovely time, so I would be super happy to see you there. Yeah. What else is there to even say? Let's just start this. First, I start out with a really rough sketch that is mostly just to get the positioning of the characters and a little bit of their key features. If you have seen any of my works in progress before, you probably already know that I'm a very loose and very messy sketcher. That is totally fine because it lets me get the overall feeling of the piece, and I will be cleaning everything up later. I really like using textured brushes, and the brush I'm using here is a default Procreate brush. It's the chalk brush under the calligraphy section. I especially love this brush for line art, but I also used it for my sketch here. I don't always do a second round of sketching, but since my initial sketch was extra rough for this one, I decided to define things a little bit more with another layer of sketching, where I started to add more details and worked out the features of the characters a little bit more. The sketching stage is really the best stage to adjust things and move stuff around if you need to, because it's just the easiest point in the process to do so, and you don't feel like you lose quite as much if you change stuff at this stage rather than waiting until later in the process. So for the character on the right, I felt like she needed a 3rd round of sketching because I really felt like I needed to figure out more details of what was happening with her to really get her characteristics down. I felt like the other 2 came pretty naturally, but she just needed a little bit of extra work before moving on to the line art process. Once I feel like I pretty much know the details of the piece and I feel like I can make line art without having to guess too much, that's when I move on to line art. I reduce the opacity of the sketch and then start doing the line art over top. I'm using the same brush for the line art here as I did for the sketch. I just really recommend this brush, you guys. Give it a try. The chalk brush, seriously. It made line art so much more fun for my process, at least. Partway through the line art on this middle demon girl, I noticed that her head seemed strangely squished on one side. Whenever characters have tilted heads or are partially covered up, it can be easy to accidentally get features misaligned. So I added an extra layer to do a quick underdrawing to figure out what was going on there with the head before I added more line art and adjusted it. Once I didn't need the underdrawing anymore, I just deleted the layer. Don't ever be afraid to make a new layer and do a new underdrawing to figure out what is happening with your piece if you ever get stuck and confused. So I had to do another extra underdrawing with the character on the right's body because I could not figure out what was happening with her torso for some reason. Like I said, it happens all the time where I need to draw that extra underdrawing, and don't be afraid to do that, guys. Don't be afraid to figure stuff out how it's supposed to be. Otherwise, you will end up later in the process and be frustrated because something is off, and then, like one of my professors used to say, it'll be like you're polishing a turd, and you don't want to polish turds. Okay, now we're getting into color. In this piece, I created a separate base layer for each character and then created additional layers for clothes and hair. Depending on the size of your canvas, you have to be a bit picky when it comes to deciding what elements get their own layers. Since Procreate has a layers limit if you work on a large canvas, I tend to work on a large canvas because I never know what I'm going to want to print later on. Because of this limit, I kept elements like gradients in the skin, the eyes, the mouth, and the teeth all on the base skin layer. So everything you're seeing right there where I'm filling in the eyes and the mouth and the cheeks, that's all on the same base skin layer for the particular character. The only things that are getting their own layers are clothes and hair. Going along with that idea of conserving layers in Procreate, the way I do shadows in this piece is I use one layer, it goes over top all of the characters. I grab a grayish purplish color to use for the shadow color, and then I change the layer mode to a hard light layer. Usually in my pieces for the shadows, I will either use a hard light layer mode or a overlay layer mode, just depending on the color scheme and how dark the piece is, and I kind of just play around with it and experiment. The reason I use an overlay or a hard light is because I really like how that layer mode picks up the colors underneath the shadow. I feel like when I use just a multiply layer, the piece can feel a little bit flat and dead to me, at least when I do it. So I really like for my pieces to have that color pop that the hard light or the overlay gives. Is it 100% accurate? Nope, absolutely not. It's not like the real world, but these are cartoons, so it's okay, and I like the way it looks. So bleh, I do what I want. These final steps of adding some gradients and highlights at the very end are some of my favorite parts of the process because I feel like it really ties up the whole piece of artwork and makes it look and feel a lot more done. I do tend to do a little bit of painting over top all of the layers just to like fix a few things. I did that a little bit with the hair of the girl on the left. So yeah, reaching the end. Here is the final result of these monster girl pals. Are they monster girls? I'm not really sure. Fantasy girls? Something like that. Anyway, I think it turned out pretty cute, and I had a lot of fun drawing them. Thanks for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more art videos and tips videos, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. If you want to see more of my artwork, I am on Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter. For more time-lapse videos, Photoshop files, tips, critiques, stickers, and so much more, visit my Patreon. I hope you guys have a lovely day. See you next time. YouTubers out there. Ooh. Okay, I'll stop.